off on my side here.
The same Bacon family.
I guess it was off on this phone. Okay, hey, shalom, shalom, akiyam. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha, Kodash. I would also like to give a double honors to the beloved elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, starting with the 144,000 men of Israel, which consists of the servants, the prophets, whom have been ordained since the foundations of this earth to sing this new song, which comes in the form of this gospel, which would be preached throughout all four corners of this earth and rest upon the ears of the innumerable multitude, men, women, and children of Israel, who may be scattered throughout all four corners of this earth. Shalom. Hey, shalom, beloved Akiyam and Akwaf. It's just Bayan back again through the spirit power, mercy and grace of our power, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, all right, who the world ignorantly calls God, and Jesus Christ, the true names of the Heavenly Father, and the only begotten Son. Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father. All right, Yah means He, Howah means He is, He exists, man. And the elect have a level of understanding regarding His omnipotency, man, through the spirit and power and mercy of Him, allowing us to receive the Holy Spirit. All right, Bahashem means in the name, and Yahweh Shai is the true name of the only begotten Son the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, man. Yah means He, Yahweh Shai means deliverer, Savior. Okay, and He's coming to deliver the elect of His people of Israel in these days to come, man. All right, Lord willing, we're part of that precious number. All right, so what I wanted to get into, as you can see the thumbnail, breaking news, Iran declares war on the U.S., on Israel, and on this, European Union hegemony, man. And this is something that, we don't want to overlook. We understand that it's going to be a build-up, to the Third World War. We know that's the final finale of prophecy or what have you. There's going to be a lot that happens prior to that. We know the Charagma, right? The RFID microchip, the device the size of a grain of rice, pursuant to Revelations 13:16, must be mandated. All right, Jacob's trouble must come into its perfection. All right, those, the 10 plagues that were sent against ancient Egypt, they're going to come upon this current Egypt, as you can read in 2nd Esdras. All right, the Lord's going to send plagues upon Babylon as before, all right, which is going to include blackout. All right, there's going to be, the Lord's going to starve you people out. There's going to be a famine. All right, Yahweh Bashim Yahshua is going to send wild beast upon you people, bro. Pestilence. It's going to get crazy. It's going to get chaotic. But we know at the end of the day, the end all be all is going to be this Third World War. And what we're witnessing is another building block, all right, to that great and terrible day of the Lord. All right, and as the servants of the Lord, we are to warn you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans of the reality of the times we're coming into, man. All right, because what you got to understand is that this truth is not going to be readily available for you forever. All right, there's a prophet, there's a part of prophecy called the famine of the word. All right, pursuant to Amos 8:11, that's going to come to pass. But the Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is so merciful. He's allowing His word to go out day in and day out. Okay, week in and week out, year in and year out, in efforts to allow you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans to turn back while you still can. And only the elect is going to hearken. Okay, but understand this. All right, we are at the end, man. All right, we are at the end. As we can see, the tensions won't stop over there in the East. The world ignorantly calls the Middle East. It's really, Western Asia. And then you have the constant systematic breakdown, over here in the West. Okay, where you see this Edomite hegemony just falling apart. The NATO and the EU and Babylon the Great, the whore, they're not seeing eye to eye. All right, Trump wants to align with Russia. The EU ain't with it. Okay, Trump's in the process of trying to cut ties with NATO, and it's just a bunch of chaotic craziness going on in the household of Esau. But ultimately we understand that it's all by design. As they say, as the saying goes, all wars are bankers' wars. Okay? And in the back of Evil E's mind, in the form of the global elite, their plan is to only bring chaos, and at the end of it, delegate that order that comes behind it. In their mind, they're gonna climb out of the ashes like the phoenix bird, all right, and they're gonna be able to operate for whoever knows how long. In their mind, they think forever, under a fourth industrial revolution, under a diabolical AI-driven world. But that's a figment of their imagination. Okay, because what we're witnessing in the form of these tensions that are going on amongst these kings of the earth. All right, the Lord's doing this, man. The Lord's creating this tension of war, because this is the time we're in. We're in the time of war. Let's go here. All right, and there's no turning back. The Lord's not going to change the course of prophecy. Okay, regardless of what one thinks they may be able to do. Right, Esau's not gonna able to end up at a different location at the end of his trip. All right, he's trying to take all these different routes to avoid the outcome, but it's unavoidable. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3 and verse 1, and it reads, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven, man. Right? And that's how prophecy works, as we can read in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. The vision is yet for an appointed time. Each prophecy comes in its season. All right? And there's no deterring it. There's no deterring it. It's of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. His word is going to come to pass, man. You see? Look at a time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. And we're in the season of Esau being plucked up. Okay? We're in the season where Esau is about to be driven out of the earth. All right? The same way he was able to establish this strong foothold on the planet Earth, on the world stage, is the same way the Lord's going to take this dude out. Okay? This is why the Lord's stirring up war. That's why the war drums are beating. Okay, because there's going to be no peace. As is written, there's no peace to the wicked, man. No, man. Hey, the son of perdition is going to be taken out the same way he came into power, bro. And then in its perfection, as it tells us in Isaiah 47. It's going to come in its perfection. Check this out. I'm jumping on to verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace, bro. And we are clearly in a time of hate and war. All right, and there's no denying it. Hence, what we're going into now, regarding these tensions over there in the East, right? And these nations, and these other nations' stance towards America, bro. When you tap into, and it's all it evolves around the reality of them having a nuclear weapons program. And that's of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Okay? As it tells us in Joel. right? Bear with me. Matter of fact, we'll just quote it, right? The Lord, the scriptures say, let the weak say I'm strong, right? And how these weak nations are going to become strong is they're going to be able to bring forth these weapons of mass destruction. But on top of that, more importantly, they're going to be allied, okay, with the bear. Okay, Iran is allied with the bear, which is Russia. This is biblical prophecy. See, this is no light thing, all right, with the stance that Iran's taken. This is no light thing. You know, because understand, Iran is allied with Russia. So whatever however Babylon feels about this stance they're taking, they got what has to be understood is that this is going to be this again, it's a stepping stone towards towards fulfilling these rumors. Okay, because scripture's going to those rumors. Let me get this real quick in Jeremiah. Right, Jeremiah 51 and 46. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start up. Let's start at verse 45. Jeremiah 51 and 45. My people. And who's the Lord's people? Israel, bro. Okay, listen to this. My people, go ye out of the midst of her. Talking about Babylon. Come out of here, man. Spiritually, disconnect from this place, bro. See, Jake, what you don't understand, when you celebrate these holidays of Babylon and, you know, you stay grip into the philosophy of Babylon, you're spiritually connected to this place, bro. You're going to take part of that destruction if you don't disconnect from this place spiritually, bro. Because there ain't nowhere you can run and nowhere you can hide. It's talking to spiritually disconnected. Look at, go ye out of the midst of her and deliver every man his soul. See? Hey, receive with meekness this engrafted word that's able to save your soul, man. You see, this truth, this doctrine, this gospel is going to preserve you from the coming destruction upon Babylon the Great if you're part of the elect. Look, and deliver every man his soul from the fierce anger of the Lord Yahweh, man. All right, the Lord's on his way. Isaiah 63, his scopeos on Babylon the Great. And he's going to use these various nations, including America's allies, to shoot at her. All right, this is prophecy, man. And as a matter of fact, let me jump out of here real quick, Babak Rashad. I'm going to go get that Joel, hence the title, right? We're trying to warn you, Jake, man, through the Spirit. Look at Joel 2 and 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion. Okay, and we always go into a Zion in the Hebrews to Zayuan, which goes into it means memorial or a parched place, right? It's another name for Jerusalem. When you look it up, which are obviously Jerusalem's a people before it's a place. The people make up the land. The land doesn't make up the people. All right, so here we are. We're blowing the trumpet in Zion, man, right? And sounding the alarm in my holy mountain, right? A mountain representing the government of Israel, right? Let all, talking to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, man. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. Let everybody tremble, bro. Look at, for the day of the Lord Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand, man. Okay, we are in the time of the great return of our Messiah, the King of Kings and the Lords of Lords, bro. Yahweh Shai. And Yahweh Shai's coming back, and he's gonna be mad as hell, man. All right, he's coming with a sword, and he's coming with fire. He's not playing. All right, he's coming to strip these heathen nations of their crowns. You can read that in Revelations 19. And he's coming to destroy anybody and everybody that's not willing to bow, man. Starting with you reprobate, renegade niggas, man. Okay? This is how this thing's gonna go down. And again, this war that's gonna pop off, this Third World War, is gonna bring forth this thermonuclear fallout, bro. All right, back in Jeremiah 51, in verse 46, and lest your heart faint, right? Lest your mind faint, and ye fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land. A rumor shall both come one year, and a rumor goes into news. All right, when you look up this word rumor, it goes into news. And what are we doing? We're bringing out news regarding war, intentions of it. You see, which all of it evolves around biblical prophecy, and we're going to tie it all in through the Spirit. And this is prophecy, man, what we're witnessing. You see? And we understand this, man. You beloved Aki Aminakwa. You know, right? Look it. A rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that, in another year shall come a rumor. And violence in the land, ruler against ruler. This thing's gonna spill over, man. You see, so that's why we gotta watch. All right, the temperatures of this of these prophecies, man. Measure the times diligently, man. We're not gonna overlook this. All right, this is another form of measuring the time. All these prophecies are hitting. They're all hitting. You see, systematically. You see that? Now, real quick. I got this article, right? And this is from the New York Post. And the title reads, hence the thumbnail, Iran declares total war against U.S., Israel, and Europe. Okay, the EU. As Islamic Republic seeks to expand nuclear capabilities, and that's what it evolves around. And again, we were tapping into that Joel. Man, let me go get that Joel. I got to go get it, man. This is the Lord doing this, man. You see? Esau's in a position where he's trying to stop shit from happening. No, man. Remember, them weapons, them ICBM missiles, belong to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, pursuant to Jeremiah 50. Those are his weapons of indignation, man. He's going to open up his armory, man. Them are his weapons, bro. So if they're your weapons, right, you can arm anybody you want with them. And no one and nothing can stop you from doing that. They're yours. You can give them to whoever you want. You know? And that's what's happening. Okay? And on top of that, again, as we mentioned earlier, which we're going to show you, Iran's tied in lock, stock, and barrel with Russia, man. So they have a defense system with them, man, which is, it's all prophecy. Joel, let's go get this real fast. Back in the book of Joel. I'm jumping down in Joel, the 3rd chapter. I'm going to jump down to the point because I want to get back to that article. Let's see here. There we go. Joel chapter 3 and verse 9. We'll start at verse 9. We got to start at verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. And this is talking to the natural Gentiles. Okay? Genesis. All right? Demon Hassad and Demon Hakah. I just want to throw them out there. Okay? You know, you already know. You Aki Aminakwath already know why. They can't discern the difference between the Gentiles. For the first time after all the years they've been in the truth, now they're realizing all is in the Bible. But anyways, let's continue on. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, right? The natural Gentiles. Prepare war, man. Prepare war. This is the season we're in. Ecclesiastes, man, 3 and 8. War is being prepared. Okay, when something's being prepared, there's a process to its finish. You see? When you bake a cake, hey, you don't just, you know what I mean? You don't just take the batter and then just throw all the ingredients in there and just throw it in there. No, you throw the batter in there. You know, if you're making it from scratch, you're utilizing flour, baking soda, you know, your salt, you know, all your ingredients, your eggs, you're gonna beat it all together, boom, 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 boom. You may let it settle, right? And you're gonna put it in the baking pan or what have you. Right? You're gonna have your stove preheated. You know, that's all preparation. That's how this is happening with this war, bro. All right? War is being prepared. You see that? Look it. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, man. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up, and ultimately they're gonna be gathered at the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, man. Which is over there in Western Asia, bro. Right there in Saudi Arabia. The desert. You know, where this thing's gonna pop off. Look it. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Right, your agricultural tools. Turn them into weapons of war, man. All right? Let the weak say I am strong. And this is what we're witnessing with Iran. All right, little old Iran, who Esau used to bully all up and down the road, man. All right? Little old North Korea, Esau used to bully up and down. They're strong now. All right? For two reasons. They got ICBM missiles because the Lord allowed them to have them, and they're tied in with Russia. It's all biblical prophecy, man. They're part of that assembly of great nations, bro, that are going to be joined with the northern country, which in that case in Jeremiah is talking about Russia. You see? This is what's happening, man. Let's go back to the article, bro. I'm going to just read a little bit of this. The title tells the story. But ready? Iran's president declared his nation was in total war with the U.S., Israel, and Europe. They want smoke, okay? The Lord's got the spirit on these nations to want to fight. Look it. Just as Tehran looks to rebuild its nuclear capabilities and strengthen ties with Hamas, Masoud Pezeshkian, bear with me, I know I ain't say that right, made the bold statement in an interview published in state media Saturday, Barron's reported. It reads, quote, "In my opinion, we are at total war with the United States, Israel, and Europe. They want to bring our country to its knees, man." This is what he said. And he's making that stance based off the fact that, you know, the West doesn't want Iran with any nuclear weapons, bro. But again, as we may mention, pursuant to Jeremiah 50, these weapons of mass destruction belong to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And he's placing them in the hands of these smaller nations, bro. And then putting them under the wing of Russia. Okay? This is why they're talking that shit. You know? And when you tap into biblical prophecy, let's go here real quick, man. Let's go to the book of 2nd Esdras. You know where I'm going, Akiyam. All things lead to World War III. I should have titled it that. Here's the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15 and verse 28. And it reads, "Behold," which means look, "a horrible vision." Okay, and we know a vision is what? An oracle, a prophecy, right? "And the appearance thereof from the east," bro. Okay, again, the east being the people world ain't really calls the Middle East, it's Western Asia, bro. Check this out. Okay? "Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia," which is talking to Ishmael, right? You got the UAE, right? "Shall come out with many chariots, and with the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all that which hear them may fear and tremble," man, right? Because ultimately, the Yahweh Shai is coming to see these cats as well. All right, as strong as they're going to be pushing, at the end of the day, it says to be carried as the wind upon the earth. Yahweh Shai is going to come see these niggas as well. They're only going to do so much. They're being used as vessels, vessels, I'll say, tools. I guess that's a better word to use, to bring forth prophecy, bro. To ultimately knock off the modern day Assyrian and his cohorts. You see, that's what this is how this thing's playing out. Look, watch this. Also, the Carmanians, okay, was just as talking to Iran, the Persians, bro. Look it. And as a matter of fact, when you get this word Carmanians, all right. Let me see here. Here we go. So simple Google AI overview search of Carmanians. Right? It says the Carmanians were an ancient warlike people from Carmania, a historical region in modern day southeastern Iran. Okay? Around Kerman. Listen to this. Key characteristics. Location: lived in Carmania, east of Persia. Okay, east of Persia, along the northern Persian Gulf Coast, bro. Okay, and the Persians changed their name to Iran, I believe, in the 1930s, bro. You can look it up. Right? Look, warlike nature, right? Described as fierce like wild boars, bro. Right? Because you know how they get down, bro. They'll blow themselves up to blow you up. Right? We already know. Right? Look, and compared to Medes and Persians and battle tactics, man. You see that? And this is on AI overview, bro. Let's go back to the prophecy, man. See? The Bible don't lie, man. The Bible, is a matter of fact, the Bible's undefeated. And this is what the world's gonna find out. Because the elect, Lord, and we're part of that precious number, already knows. 2nd Ezra 15 and 30. Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, bro. Okay? And with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians, bro. Which is talking to Babylon, bro. You see that? And this is what we're witnessing, bro. We're witnessing Ishmael and all them linking. They're linking up. And again, they're coming under the umbrella of Russia. And we're going to show you that. But let's continue on. 2nd Ezra 15 and 31. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand. Remember, going back to Ishmael, as we read in verse, what was that, 28? Or 29, rather? Right, 29. Right, continuing on in verse 31. 2nd Ezra 15 and 31. And then shall the dragons, right, Ishmael and them, have the upper hand, remembering their nature, bro. Okay, what was said when Ishmael will be brought forth, how he will be moving? Let's go get it. Genesis, what's that? Genesis 16? If my memory serves me correct, Ishmael being the son of Hagar, one of Abraham's wives. Where is that? Is that like, oh, here we go, 11, right? And the angel of the Lord, this is the book of Genesis chapter 16 and verse 11. This is what I want. And the angel of the Lord Yahweh said unto her, behold, thou art with child, and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael. Check this out. Because the Lord hath heard thy affliction, and he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren, bro, the UAE. I'm going to throw that out there again. You know what I'm saying? You know? So, hey, man, you see that? So, and again, we know how Ishmael gets down, bro. As we mentioned, he'll blow himself up to blow you up. All right? And you see how they got smoke with everybody. But they got allies, too. We're in a different time. You see? And their main ally is Russia. Look. Okay? I'm going to read 2nd Ezra 15 and 31 again. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. And if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, man, to persecute the Assyrians, bro. You see? And again, let's go get that Ezekiel. This is all prophecy. That Ezekiel 38. Right? They're not gunning alone. Right? Ezekiel 38. I'm gonna stop in verse 1. Right? And it reads, and then in the word, the book of Ezekiel 38 and verse 1, and the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Salakia, son of man, set thy face against God. Salaki Akiam, forgive me. The land of Magog, right? The chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. All right, so showing you again, we made the mention, you know, of these nations, these heathen nations being used as tools. The Lord's using these nations as tools to execute his will. You see? He's even against Russia. Okay? Remember, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is the God of Israel, bro. He's riding with Israel, point blank, period. You know? The times that he's showing some type of favor towards these heathen, it's to fulfill his will. You know? At the end. Alright? Look at Balaam. Right? He had Balaam see a vision with his eyes open and see the end of the reality of what's gonna come to Moab, Esau, Amalek, and all these heathen, bro. And how Israel's gonna do valiantly, man. Okay? And at the end, Balaam got what? He got put down, bro. Chapters later. Let's continue on. Ezekiel 38 and verse 2. Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord power Yahweh, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws. Okay? And this is symbolic for the Lord turning Russia back into those austere, valiant, waristic, USSR, okay, spirited men. That's what he's turning them back. He's turning them back up. Okay, he's turning them back up. Why do you think Putin is not? He's not hearkening any phone call. There's no pleading. There's no peace deal. There's no nothing. They don't want no resource. They don't want nothing. Hey, they want to take over. You see, because it's the Lord turning them back into that spirit. Right? Look it. And I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, bro. Okay, and we know the modern day sword is the gun, but in its perfection, it's the missiles, ICBMs. It says all of them handling swords, bro. Okay? All these nations got missiles. They're all handling missiles, baby. And this is the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Here we go. Persia. First one on the list. Okay? Iran. The Carmanians. See? Look at Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them. All of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Torgama. We're just talking to Turkey. Right? Of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Look it. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be a guard unto them. Okay? That's why Russia's always in the middle of a conversation point when it comes to these various nations that they're allied with having an issue with Babylon the Great or one of Babylon the Great's allies, bro. Okay, Russia's a guard unto these nations, man. Okay, and check this out. We'll close out with this. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50. Looks like my phone's gonna die. I've seen it hit 20%, so. We'll close out with this, because this is the end game right here. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, and verse 9, and it reads, For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon, which is talking to America. All right, these chapters, Jeremiah 50 and 51, is talking to Babylon the Great, a.k.a. America, bro. All right, even a trustworthy, truthful, which is halfway truthful, scholar will tell you. One of the Edomite scholars, they say it would have to be talking about America. There's no other way around. There's no other nation with that type of energy, okay? That fits that fits the prophecy within there so perfectly, bro. It tells you when you look it up on AI, overview, Google, or what have you. You know, the daughter of Babylon. It tells you they say it's America. It has to be, right? Because it is. Look it, for lo, I will raise up and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations, bro. The assembly of great nations, bro. The BRICS nations, bro. Right? And hey, this includes Babylon's allies too. Pursuing the Obadiah 1 and 7. What's that? Revelation 17. Okay? And 16. Look. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon, assembly of great nations from the north country, which that's Russia. And they shall set themselves in array against her, bro. Battle formation, with Russia leading that charge. From thence she shall be taken, bro. You see? So at the end of the day, all Esau, evil E, he's shooting at the hip. Babylon the Great, they're shooting at the hip. You know, this stance they're making, how, you know, they're going to disconnect from this, you know, EU and they whatever, and they're going to do this, that, you know, this is going to be the AI capital of the world and all this crazy shit. No, at the end of the day, this thing ends with this place becoming a burnt mountain, pursuing the biblical prophecy, bro. And all you heathen being subjugated. Okay? All you heathen being subjugated by under Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and his people. Starting with the elect. This is the reality of the story. Right? From thence she shall be taken, bro. Their arrows, which is the missiles, right? Even to this very day, the military coins, a missile that was either detonated accidentally or lost in testing or what have you, a broken arrow. You can look that up. She'll look at from thence you should be taken. Their arrow shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain, because the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is going to be on these missiles, bro. Okay? They're going to be shot by a mighty archer, bro. The spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is going to be on those missiles. That's why it tells you in Joel that when the sword falls upon them, which is talking to the missile defense systems, none of these missiles are going to lose their rank. They're not going to come out of rank. Nothing's going to stop them. Because divine power is going to be driving them, man. So this is what we're looking forward to. And again, what's going on right now in Iran? I mean, well, with this current news, rather, you know, Iran declares war against U.S., Israel, Europe, and Islamic Republic seeks to expand nuclear capability. This is a building block to the reality of the third world's war, man. Hey, Lord willing, you beloved Akim and Akwath were edified. Hey, Lord willing, you were spiritually fed. Aparatazai, you were informed, man. All right. Hey, prophecy speaking. The war drums are beating. All right. Salvation draws nigh. All this marks our salvation, Akim and Akwath. This is why this is so important and exciting. You know, it marks our salvation. Salvation draws nigh. Okay? It's about to go down, man. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rachak Wadash. Hey, double honors to the beloved elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. Hey, till next time, beloved Akim and Akwath. Hey, shalom. Lord will not be back later.